What's up everybody, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Richie and I'm currently a V2 climber looking to get up to the V7 level. This is week 4 of documenting my progress on this journey. For the first climb, we look at a green V2 with the feet starting on the volume, and we quickly rotate so we can get our right foot up onto the next foothold and grab the next handhold. From there, we make a little jump with our left hand, and then we get our right hand up to the pocket. Once we have our right hand up, we move our feet up to the dual text hold, which is a little slippery, but as we learned last week, we can put our foot on it if it's at the right angle. Once we've secured our footing, we can grab the next right hand hold, but from here, I don't know what to do. I'll fast forward the video because I end up spending a lot of time on the wall and I'm unsure of what to do. I play around with different foot placements, but nothing feels quite right. I try to put my right foot on the volume, I try to put my right foot in the pocket, but it doesn't seem like anything's working. After a little while, my hands get tired, so I have to drop. This week was pretty tough as I was stuck on this climb and one other climb that you'll see later in the video. But I start the climb again, and the beginning goes smoothly just as it did before. After I bring the left hand up and get the right hand to the pocket, I bring my feet up and get my right hand up again, just like before. But also, just like before, I can't really do anything once I get there, so I'll fast forward the video again. Eventually my hands get tired and I have to drop. This week was really tough because I feel like I should be able to do this climb, but I just can't seem to get it. Here I try playing around with different foot placement per Amal's recommendation, but this doesn't feel quite right, so I go back to doing it the way that I usually do it. It seems like I have the first part down pat at this point, but I just don't know what to do once I get my hand up to that hold on the volume. This is a V2 and I know I've done a lot of greens before, so it feels like I should be able to get this problem, but for some reason it just won't stick. What makes this even more frustrating is that it's in the same spot that the red was in that I was trying to get a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't get it before they reset the route, and this is the one that they replaced it with. I did, however, get new climbing shoes, which feel a lot better than my old ones. They fit better and they're just higher quality overall. Maybe it's just a placebo effect, but I do feel like these shoes help with the small footholds and on the volumes. I also feel like the shoes are a more appropriate size for my feet. I try the climb over and over again, but after getting my hand to that same hold, I don't know what to do from there. I still didn't get this problem by the end of the week, but I did make some progress since last week because I can get my right hand up to the next hand hold. Hopefully next week I'll be able to make some more progress and get my left hand up and then finish the climb. Now let's take a look at the next climb that I worked on this week. It's a V4, which means it's an orange climb, and it has this cool start where you have to kind of shimmy around the volumes and then you go into a bunch of really small crimps. As I practice more and more, I find an easier way to get around the volumes, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm glad I have these new shoes for the volume because it really helps me stick. I find a little crevice between the two volumes, and this allows me to use it as a handhold and finish the start more consistently. When getting off of the starting volumes, you use these little crimps and then lower yourself with a big step onto the next set of volumes. Then you have to use your hands to walk over slowly. From here, it's not immediately obvious what the next move is. The crimps are really small and it's very taxing on the fingers. Try to get both feet on the volume, but this doesn't quite work because there's no way for me to grab the next hold. Now you can see me practice the start a few times as I gradually get better at it and more consistent. At this point, I think I found the beta that's going to help me send this climb, and that's to use my foot on the small foothold to push myself forward and grab the next handhold. I still don't feel completely confident on the start, so I practice it every time that I do the climb. For this go, I do something a little different and I angle my foot inwards towards the wall and try to straighten it out to get as far to the right as I can. This doesn't quite seem as good as the other way where I angle it away from the wall and push, but we'll see which one works better. I find someone else at the gym that's also trying to work on this problem and we share some ideas, but neither one of us can quite get it that day. I play around more with the idea of pushing off my left foot with my foot angled away from the wall, and this feels like it's the best so far. If I'm able to get this climb, it'll be my first V4. Towards the end of this climbing session, I'm getting pretty tired, so I start doing some funky stuff just to avoid putting more pressure on my fingers. During these couple attempts, I try to have my back towards the wall so I can put my left foot down on the volume instead of my right, and then pivot and go for the penultimate handhold. This doesn't quite work because I'm not flexible enough and it's just an overall difficult move. but I do love trying crazy betas. I think I like trying crazy betas on easy problems more than I like sending harder problems. I really like finding unique ways to solve problems that other people don't think of. The reach is just a little bit too much to have my back towards the wall, so eventually I give up and try to do it again the normal way, but my fingers are just completely done for the week, so I'm gonna call it a day. I tried to have my back to the wall twice, but it doesn't seem to work, so I move back to the normal way of trying it, but after feeling how my fingers feel, I just can't do it, so I call it a day and move on from this problem for the week. This last problem I only worked on a couple of times. It's pretty ambitious for me. It would be a V6, which means I would skip a V4 and V5 and go straight to the V6 if I got this one. I know it sounds crazy, but this seems like a pretty easy V6, so I'm going to see if I can work some magic with it. I only give it a couple attempts this week, but I might go back to it next week. At first it's difficult for me to figure out how to start, but I realize you have to start on your left foot and kind of jump up with your right and catch yourself on this little foothold on the volume. It takes me a couple attempts, but eventually I get it and I can start it consistently. From this position I see a lot of people have to toe hook their original volume to be able to reach the next handhold, but luckily I have a huge wingspan and I don't have to do that. I just grab the next handhold nice and easy, but I don't exactly know what to do once I get there. To avoid this problem, I play around with starting the problem backwards, but this just doesn't seem to work. This is at the end of a long session because I'm not really focusing on trying to get a V6 before getting a V4 or V5, but I play around with some different betas and see if my legs can reach from one volume to the other. My legs can reach, but it's a difficult reach, so I'm not sure if that's the way to go. It might be better if I can swap my feet on the foothold, but the foothold's so small that this is very technical and I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that. Then once we get over to that side, we need to focus on getting up to the top hold, which again seems a little difficult, but it is a V6, so that makes sense. This week was really tough for me, especially because I didn't send any of the projects I was focusing on, but I'm just going to let this inspire me to work harder next week so I can hopefully get my first V4 and get that V2 that I've been working on.